Hello, I'm Bill. I had a clean shave today, went down the old barber's and cut the right job. Naked. Good evening, and it's the 31st of January now, and here is the news. In the year 2007, the UK government introduced new tobacco legislation, making it illegal to smoke in pubs, restaurants, hotels, clubs, and any other public places. 10,000 pubs closed in 1 year. I'll say that again, 10,000 pubs closed in 1 year, an average of 25 per week. Approximately 50,000 pubs in Britain have closed in the last 10 years alone. Say that again. Approximately 50,000 pubs in Britain have closed in the past 10 years alone. A few councils in Britain have even gone so far as to ban smoking in their town centres, with some smokers having to pay an £80 on-the-spot fine for dropping a fag butt. We are now living in the year 2017, and the UK government is now enforcing new tobacco regulations. Packets of cigarettes and tobacco now have to carry a 75% pictorial health warning and have to be olive green in colour. This makes the job of the tobacco kiosk staff in the supermarket and the newsagents almost impossible to tell one brand from another. Goodbye JPS Black. Cigarettes can now only be sold in packets of 20. Selling 10 cigarettes or 15 or 17 is illegal. Therefore, poor people who simply cannot afford to pay for 20 cigarettes a day are being persecuted because they simply do not have the cash to buy a packet of 20. So they have to give up smoking for 1 day so that they can afford to buy cigarettes. Some light smokers only smoke 10 fags a day. I smoke 3 cigars every hour when I'm working. Fortunately, I work outdoors for half the day, being a postman. In fact, when I'm not working, I normally smoke 4 roll-ups while I am having my early morning shit on the toilet, playing Scrabble on my Galaxy phone, which often takes up to an hour. I do enjoy clearing my bowels on Sunday morning and on my days off work. Anyway, I'm digressing. Cigarettes in 2017 must now be sold only in packets of 20. Hand-rolling tobacco can now only be sold in 30 grams or 50 grams. Packets of 25 gram, 12.5 gram, that's half an ounce or smaller, are now illegal. And all the tobacco products have to be olive green as well. John Player Special Army, Benson and Hedges Super Commandos. Sounds exactly like a George Orwell novel, doesn't it? So again, poor people who used to buy a small pouch of tobacco to smoke on their 5-minute break from work to make their pitiful, dull lives bearable for a few seconds of warm, soft grey smoke. And some very poor people, like the thousands of homeless people who sleep on the streets of London every night of the year in cardboard boxes and wrapped in filthy thin blankets stinking of piss and beer in the bleakest of freezing cold winters, which they had begged of some stupid rich tourist or kind-hearted person who they are reduced to begging upon. Often, I might say, to buy a can of Tennant's super strong beer. Anyway, these poor people who could only afford a tiny packet of tobacco to warm their lungs on a freezing, chilly winter's night are now reduced, as many tramps have been doing for so many years, myself included when I was unemployed, to smoke occasional cigarette butts, which they find trampled on the street pavement, like gold dust to a tramp these days. Believe me, when you have no money at all, the one thing you really crave for is a cigarette, above food and alcohol. But if I am to be truly honest with myself, I must admit, if you are homeless and living on the streets for any length of time in any town or city of Britain, A can of extra strong lager will hopefully numb your senses to the icy winter wind, and at least knock you unconscious for another day or two, so that you can sleep and dream without facing the harsh cold world around you. Personally, when I was unemployed, I spent £5 a week on food and drink. Potatoes £1, margarine £1, cheese £1, 4 tins of cheap baked beans £1, and a few onions for 50p. And when I say I drink, I mean coffee, always Nescafe. I hate cheap coffee. And £1 on a packet of tea for the week. Sometimes I also bought a packet of eggs, 50p for 6. I also bought a 25-gram pouch of rolling tobacco for the entire week. I was getting paid £25 a week at one point for several months. The rest of my benefit just about paid for gas, electricity and a fucking television bloody licence. Not to mention television rental charges. My little trick was to save up all my cigarette butts and keep them in an old tobacco tin. And then after day 3, when I had no money left to buy tobacco but a few coins to buy food, I would roll up my cigarette butts and smoke them until the next gyro day. But that was 20 years ago. And in the year 2016, a 12.5 gram of tobacco, half an ounce, costs about a £5. In the year 2017, it is illegal to sell 12.5 gram of tobacco. So how are the poor people supposed to enjoy their lives if they cannot even afford the simplest pleasure of a cigarette? It's a little thing I wrote.